people walk into the same five-star hotel. They arrive only seconds apart. Neither has said a word, yet somehow the concierge moves toward one guest first. The staff seem warmer, more attentive, almost as if they already know how to interact with that person. So what did they notice? Because before you assume it's about money, clothes, or status, there's something more interesting happening. The most elegant people often reveal themselves before they ever introduce themselves. Stay till the end, because today we're breaking down the 6 invisible signals that can change how people respond to you before you've even said a word. Here's something most people never think about. When you enter a 5-star hotel, a restaurant, a meeting, or any unfamiliar room, people don't just hear what you say. They read how you arrive, your pace, your posture, your level of urgency, the way you treat the people around you, and the emotional atmosphere you bring with you. These are subtle habits, but together they create something powerful: presence. So let's understand how elite presence is often communicated before a single conversation even begins, and the first signal appears the moment you walk through the door. Signal 1: how you enter the room. Picture 2 guests entering the same luxury hotel. The first immediately scans the lobby. Are people looking? Where's the front desk? Why hasn't anyone approached? The second simply walks in. Relaxed shoulders, natural pace, no rush to be noticed. Here's the difference. One person is asking the room, "Do I belong here?" The other behaves as if that question never needed to be asked. And people notice this faster than you think. Before you speak, your pace, posture, and urgency are already communicating something, but entering the room is only the beginning, because the next signal reveals whether you're comfortable or trying to prove something. Signal 2: certainty versus proving yourself. Imagine checking into a luxury hotel. One guest immediately says, "Is this your best room? Do you know how much I'm paying? Can you make sure I get what I paid for?" Now, having standards isn't the problem. You should absolutely ask questions. You should protect your money. You should expect good service. The real question is, are you solving a problem or announcing your importance? Someone with quiet certainty can ask for what they need without turning every interaction into a performance. They don't need the receptionist to know how much they spend. They don't need everyone around them to understand their status. Because the harder you try to make people recognize your importance, the more you may accidentally reveal that recognition matters deeply to you. And that leads to a surprisingly powerful third signal. Signal 3: do you test people or trust them? At a luxury restaurant, one guest barely looks at the server. "What's your most expensive dish?" Another asks, "What would you recommend tonight?" That simple question changes the entire interaction. Why? Because it communicates. Your expertise has value. Of course, you should ask questions. You should protect your money. But you don't have to test every person in every room to prove that you can't be fooled. Sometimes confidence is simply being able to say, "What do you recommend?" and genuinely listening. But the next signal is where people reveal their relationship with status. Signal 4: how you treat people who serve you. Watch how someone speaks to a CEO, then watch how they speak to the waiter. Is it the same person, or does their entire personality change? Someone can wear a $10,000 watch and still reveal insecurity in the way they treat people with less visible power. Real ease doesn't require you to make someone else feel small. A simple thank you, eye contact, speaking with respect. These aren't complicated etiquette tricks. They communicate something deeper. I don't need to use your position to prove mine. And here's where this becomes bigger than manners. Because every person brings an emotional atmosphere into the room. Signal 5: what happens to the room when you arrive? Imagine a guest whose room isn't ready. One person raises their voice, everyone nearby hears the complaint. The receptionist becomes tense. Other guests look over. Within minutes, the entire atmosphere has changed. Another guest has the same problem. They address it directly, clearly, but without making the entire lobby participate in their frustration. That's a different kind of power, the ability to have standards without creating chaos. And luxury hospitality is about protecting the atmosphere of the entire space, not simply providing individual services. So ask yourself, when you enter a room, do people relax or prepare for a problem? Because that emotional signal may affect how warmly people respond to you. And the final signal is the one money cannot simply buy. Signal 6: ease. This is different from confidence. It's the absence of constant self-monitoring. You can buy expensive clothes, you can learn sophisticated phrases, you can memorize every rule of etiquette. But genuine ease is different. It's walking into an unfamiliar room without constantly calculating, do I look like I belong? Are they noticing me? Am I saying the right thing? The person with ease isn't necessarily the loudest person in the room. Often, they're the person who isn't performing at all. They walk at a natural pace. They speak without over-explaining. They listen without rehearsing their next response. They ask for what they need without turning it into a test of their importance. And most importantly, they aren't constantly trying to manage the impression they're making. The good news? This isn't something you have to be born with. It can be practiced. Because the emotional register you bring into a room can become a habit. So why can two people walk into the same hotel and receive completely different energy? Maybe it's not really about the age of the money at all. Maybe it's about what happens when someone walks into a room. Do they need to be recognized? Do they test everyone? Do they create pressure? Or do they bring certainty, respect, and ease? Because true presence isn't about making everyone notice you. It's about becoming so comfortable with yourself that you no longer need the room to prove that you belong in it. And that's something no family fortune can give you automatically, but it is something you can practice, because the way you enter a room may change how the room responds to you. If you want to discover more of the invisible behaviors that build quiet confidence and powerful presence, subscribe to the Mind Upgrade. If you want more videos that help you build a stronger mindset, overcome challenges, and upgrade the way you think, make sure you subscribe to the Mind Upgrade.